AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. The NFL's free agent tampering period is open. Paul Skeens in the World Baseball Classic. We'll head to Houston next hour. David DeLucci in hour 3. Ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
What an awful weekend for LSU sports. Which sport? All of them. I mean, basketball loses in 3 overtimes to Texas A&M. Women's basketball loses for the 19th straight time to South Carolina. Softball loses a series to Tennessee. Gymnastics loses at Florida. And the baseball Tigers lose 2 out of 3 to Sacramento State. Let me remind you, that's a Sacramento State squad that came into the box 3-9 on the season. We, all of us thought, hey, here's your get-right opportunity. And, man, did it look like that for 4 innings on Friday night when LSU scored 15 runs on 14 hits. Casey Evans was perfect through 5, thinking, okay, all right, they got it out of their system. Right back into the deep freeze for the next 2.5 games. LSU baseball has lost 4 of 5 in the non-conference. The last time they had a stretch like this, you got to go back to 2007 when they lost 4 straight in the pre-conference. And that year was Paul Maneri's first at LSU, and they missed the postseason altogether in 2007. Now, I don't think this team is going to miss the postseason. And they are vastly more talented than that team was. And I am not sitting here today smashing the alarm button. But what has been exposed are some real issues that need to get fixed. I'll talk about 2 primarily. One, Jay Johnson even sort of alluded to this after the game against UL Lafayette, which was, man, you got to have team leadership. Like, your coach can only undress you so much in private. Eventually, the players have to take it upon themselves to be that. Terrio sat here with us on Friday and said effectively the same thing. And maybe the issue this team has is your best players aren't necessarily your vocal leaders. Milan Brown, Curiel, those aren't the guys that are going to be the boisterous vocal leaders. So where's that going to come from? Like, someone has to have been embarrassed by Northeastern to show up against UL Lafayette and give a better performance. You didn't. Someone has to have been embarrassed by what happened on Saturday to show up better on Sunday, and you didn't. So where does that come from? I don't know. But it can't be the coach. Somebody on that roster has got to step up and be the sort of vocal leader on this team. The other is your best offensive players need to step up. I'm talking about Brown, Curiel, and Milan. Now, Brown's been awesome. No one's going to dispute that. He's hitting over 400 right now. And Curiel for the season is a hair above 300. But he's not immune right now from criticism. And I think the big thing going on with Curiel, and it's not that this is sort of unique to him. I think this is very common for guys that are in their draft year. They start to press. And if you're Derek Curiel, the thing that he has to show, the one thing that's needs to improve in his game for the next level is his power. And that's always the last tool to come. And I think what you're seeing with Derek Curiel is, I've had this conversation with a lot of scouts over the weekend that sort of confirmed the same thing. And there were scouts from 30 big league teams at the box this weekend. I mean, there's a lot of talent on this roster that people are wanting to see. But Curiel right now has 12 strikeouts to 9 walks, and he's hitting too many fly balls. First at bat of the game on Sunday. Fly ball, right center. Like, Derek Curiel's at his best whenever he is going middle away and he's slapping the ball through a hole and getting on base. And that, I think, is the biggest problem with this offense right now, is they're not playing complementary baseball. They're not playing station-to-station baseball where it's get them on, get them over, get them in. I think everybody is trying to be the hero. And I think you're noticing that right now with Derek Curiel. He's hitting .333, but again, when he's got more strikeouts than walks, that's a problem. Milam, Brown's been awesome. Look, Milam, that's flipped. Milam's walked 13 times, has just 3 strikeouts. That's at 60 at-bats. Keep swinging. And look at it. Stephen Milam's first at-bat of the game on Sunday, if you're watching, drilled the ball to right field. The right fielder from Sacramento State made the leaping catch against the wall. Like, tip your cap, great play. Milam's not he struck out 3 times all season. Like, he is putting the ball in play. Eventually, that's going to find grass. He's too good of a hitter. Just keep putting good swings, and you'll be rewarded. He's hitting .250, and that'll come along. There's a couple of other things. I think there is one giant positive, which is the starting pitching. And after the opening weekend of the season, we looked at the starting pitching and thought that could ultimately be the bugaboo. Cooper Moore was outstanding, didn't face a 3-ball count the entire game against Milwaukee. But Evans didn't get you out of the 4th, and William Schmidt was shaky as well. Well, you look at every week subsequent, those guys have continued to improve and extend. I mean, Casey Evans looked every bit of Friday night ace this past Friday. I mean, he was perfect through 5 innings. It was incredible to watch. He overwhelmed Sacramento State. Cooper Moore, I thought that's a really encouraging performance because you're not going to have your best stuff every time out. But even when you don't have your best stuff and you can still keep your team in the game, that's a hallmark of a gritty pitcher. Cooper Moore only went 4 2/3. He walked 3, hit 2, uncorked a wild pitch. Remember, I told you in his first outing of the season against Milwaukee, Moore never faced a 3-ball count. He's been the picture of efficiency. He was not that on Friday. Again, 3 walks, hit 2 guys, and uncorked a wild pitch, but still made it through 4 2/3, giving up just 1 run. That was awesome. And then Schmidt was pretty incredible on Sunday night. 5 2/3, 8 strikeouts, didn't walk anybody. The 4 runs on 4 hits does not in any way suggest how his outing went. The bullpen let him down. Cooper Moore comes in, hits a guy. Gavin Guidry walks a guy with the bases loaded, allowing a run to score. Schmidt deserved better than what the final line score said. He was awesome. So what I know is you're not winning in June without dominant pitching. Skeens, Floyd, Anderson, Ianson. Like, you're not winning in June if you don't have that. You can get deep in June, but you're not winning when you get there without dominant pitching. And what LSU is showing right now seems like they're going to check that box of having the great starting pitching. Now, who are you identifying as the guys you count on most of the bullpen? We'll continue to wait and see that. But you got to get this offense to come along. And so the other point is, Jay Johnson, we know this, is an offensive-minded coach. He will sacrifice a glove to get another bat in the lineup. And that's fine. And it's served him well. The man's won 2 of the last 3 national championships. He's an awesome coach. Wouldn't want anybody else here. You have to look at it, though, and acknowledge that if you're putting bats in the lineup and sacrificing the glove, okay, but if they're not hitting, that's to the detriment of the team. Point out what happened in the 3rd inning on Sunday. Schmidt gives up a leadoff single, then goes strikeout, line out. That was a play where Curiel was charging, made the diving catch, coming toward home. A brilliant play. So there's one on, two outs. One on, two outs. Fly ball to left. Should be out of the inning. Braun, who has played some outfield, but signed with LSU as a first baseman, his first step is in. He just got a terrible read. Had to adjust, run back, couldn't get to the ball. It goes as a run-scoring double. They lift. Then he gets Schmidt gets a strikeout, and the ball gets away, and that's when Aaron Beatty hits the runner going to first in the helmet. And so it's a reach on an error on a strikeout, and another run comes home. You're down 2-0 when you should have been out of the inning. Defense. If you go score 15 runs, this doesn't matter. If you're not going to hit, all those defensive miscues, even if they don't go down as errors in the scorebook, are going to be magnified. So that's something that this team is going to have to look at. Now, the question about left field, that's answered as soon as Chris Stanfield comes back. He's probably going to hit the top of your lineup whenever he's ready, and he's going to play left field, and you're going to be dominant in the outfield again, which is great. But until then, what do you do? Listen, it's not worth panicking. I know some people are doing that today. There's a long way to go. Over the course of every season, there's bumps in the road. It's an evolution. You would be right to acknowledge there is concern. Way too early for panic. 2 years ago, when LSU was coming off the 23 national title. In 24, LSU was 3-12 at the midway point of SEC play. 3-12. They went 10-5 in the second half, and they were a blown save away from winning the Chapel Hill Regional and hosting a Super Regional. It's a long season. It's a long way to go. I'm not going to sit here on March the 9th and throw dirt on the season. So too, though, will I sit here and say there's real concerns that they got to figure out. And I think it's playing with more focus and energy, more discipline offensively, and making a real decision. If you're not going to hit, do you start to lean more heavily on getting some defensive guys in the lineup? Ruckert started 2 games at second on Friday, Saturday, and maybe that's something we start to see a little bit more throughout the season if they find they're going to need to rely a little more on pitching and defense. Maybe that's what this team's going to be built around. You want one more reason for optimism? LSU opens up SEC play this weekend at Vanderbilt, who's 10-7 in the pre-conference. Not a typical Tim Corbin Vanderbilt team. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. Show Up and Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU. Whether you're at the box, the PMAC, Tiger Stadium, Tiger Park, wherever you may be, make sure you drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light. Or if you're at your house, remember, they got those officially licensed commemorative aluminum bottles for the 2025 Baseball National Championship. Look for them at great local retailers. Buy 2 cases of them. Buy 1 to keep as a keepsake, and buy 1 to drink, or buy a bunch to drink. It's Bud Light, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU. Okay, quick break, y'all. We'll come back. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. The NFL's free agent tampering period, the legal tampering period, is open, and we already know a couple of big-name New Orleans Saints free agents are leaving New Orleans, and the Saints, as promised, have been active spenders. We'll catch you up when we return on AFR.
AFR.
REV, Let's Rev. Let'sRev.com. Let'sRev.com. 70,000 Louisiana home and business owners trust Rev. I trust Rev. We're Rev customers at the Moscona household. Guarantee Media, Rev customers. Parish Construction and Roofing, Rev customers. High-speed internet, home automation, cable, phone, all of those different services you can select, which as far as a buffet of services, whichever you want, you can wrap them all together. And the best part about Rev, yes, they're going to give you exemplary customer service, but they are local, and they give you great pricing as well. And the price is the price. It's not like there's an introductory price, and then they jack it up for you. The price you see is the price you pay, and the price is the price at Rev. So you want to learn more? You want to get a quote? Do it today. Let's Rev. Go to Let'sRev.com, Let'sRev.com. R-E-V. Let'sRev.com, Let'sRev.com.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
Mayor Sid Edwards is going to be in studio with us here in about a dozen minutes from right now. I talk about some 100-yard bear crawls. 100-yard big fours. Tell you what, freshman football with Sid Edwards was no joke whatsoever.
I say, don't bring him up too much. He might make you break out a few in studio.
No, there's no shot.
Coach still got it.
He can say whatever he wants. I don't have to oblige. I mean, my 43-year-old behind is just quite comfortable in the studio right now. Today began the legal tampering period in NFL free agency, and the New Orleans Saints active, both comings and goings. Let's start with those outbound first, and the most disappointing one for me personally, of course, and I think for a lot of Saints fans, is Demario Davis. So the Saints linebacker is now former Saints linebacker Demario Davis. I would argue the greatest free agent signing in Saints history after Drew Brees is Demario Davis, and he will sign a 2-year deal with the Jets. Demario Davis was with us on AFR back at the Super Bowl, and this is what he said about what it was going to take to get him back in New Orleans.
New Orleans is home for me. It has allowed me to take my everything that I want to be to the next level. So the reality of it is that it's a business, and I've never had to try to negotiate business publicly. The Saints front office has been phenomenal. They've always respected me, and we've always handled business the right way, and it'll remain in private. Those conversations are being and will be had. That's just the nature of the beast. But and they have said that they want me back, and that means a lot to me. But the business has to play out how the business will play out.
A lot of people have asked why the Jets. It's actually pretty obvious when you look at the contract. 2 years, $22 million, $15 million of that guaranteed for Demario Davis. This is clearly not a thing where he was looking for the opportunity to go win a Super Bowl. This was very clearly where he was going to go get what he felt was his worth. So he's reunited with Aaron Glenn with the Jets, and he gets a multi-year deal, which is kind of what we assumed here, was that he was going to want a multi-year contract, and the Saints very clearly were not willing to give him that, which is why this all transpired the way it did. The fact that they didn't have a deal done with Demario Davis before this point told you this was really an inevitability. Now, obviously, linebacker in the draft becomes a pretty key need for the New Orleans Saints. The other Saint player that is out the building as well is Alontae Taylor. The Saints defensive back has agreed to a 3-year, $60 million contract with the Tennessee Titans. Congratulations to Alontae Taylor. Aside from allowing Demario Davis to leave, which I disagree with vehemently, everything else the Saints did, I am perfectly fine with. Alontae Taylor is now the 10th highest paid cornerback in the NFL, and the average annual salary at $20 million per year. $42 million of his deal is guaranteed. Talked about this since Alontae Taylor showed up. I love his physicality. I love Alontae Taylor as a nickel or as a safety. I do not love Alontae Taylor as a boundary corner. If Tennessee or anybody else wants to pay him $20 million a year to go be a boundary corner, God bless you, you're going to be sorely disappointed, because that is not what he is best at. You want to put him in the box as a safety to help against the run? Yes. You want to bring him on a safety blitz? Absolutely. You want him to go play the deep middle? I'm with it. You want to stick him in the slot to cover backs and tight ends? Love it. You want to put him out wide and say, hey, go guard Puka Nacua? No shot. So Tennessee wants to pay him. God bless. Now the Saints have a real need at cornerback going into this draft as well. So you can see what they did in free agency, allowing Demario Davis and Alontae Taylor to leave. And then with who they added, they are going to go into the draft needing to get younger on the defensive side, which is very likely now going to shift the focus that a lot of people think about this Saints team going into the draft. Now, we mentioned Davis, Taylor out, 2 significant additions for the New Orleans Saints. And let's start with Ian Rappaport of the News about the Saints adding a big-time offensive weapon.
The Jacksonville Jaguars have now lost starting running back Travis Etienne to the New Orleans Saints. The Saints have made a big-time splash in free agency, still waiting on terms of this deal. My understanding is it is upwards of $10 million for the New Orleans Saints, and obviously this really calls into question the status of Alvin Kamara, who redid his contract, and I think it's fair to say some have wondered whether or not he would walk away from the game at its height. So Travis Etienne now goes to the New Orleans Saints.
I don't know that I necessarily agree that this means the end of Alvin Kamara in New Orleans. Because the Saints reworked his deal, and there's a lot of things we discussed last week when they did that deal. By the way, Ross Jackson, amazingly detailed piece up at LouisianaSports.net about the very rare, seldom used cap structuring that the Saints used for Alvin Kamara. It's up for free at LouisianaSports.net. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Even if you don't math, like I don't math, it's still fascinating to see what they were able to do with that deal. I think what this tells you, though, is they are not going to invest the 8th pick in Jeremiah Love. I think we can all agree on that. Now, I say that, and in 2017, the Saints signed Adrian Peterson in free agency and drafted Alvin Kamara in round 3. So there's always that possibility they could do something odd. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons spent $200 million on Kirk Cousins and then drafted Michael Penix. So teams do wacky things, but it would stand to reason that spending $52 million over 4 years on Etienne means you're not going to go spend the 8th overall pick on a running back, which I'll do backflips over that. You can get, what if Sonny Styles is available at 8 and there's your heir apparent to Demario Davis? What if you go Mansour Delane at 8 and there's your boundary corner? Perfect. Love that approach. The other addition is a guy we've talked about for several weeks now. The Saints went and added David Edwards, the interior offensive lineman from Buffalo. 4 years, $61 million for David Edwards. This is a big investment for a 29-year-old offensive lineman. I'm going to be curious the structure of this contract to see if maybe it's front-loaded. If it's front-loaded, I love it. I mean, I love adding the player no matter what. But I would really love it if this is a front-loaded contract, whereby you have some protections at the end as he gets into his age 32, 33-year seasons. If he starts to decline, you can move off of that deal without it being too much of an albatross around your neck. But 4 years, $61 million, the Saints identified a need and said, we're not going to spend a high draft pick on the interior of the offensive line. Let's go get a proven interior offensive lineman to protect our young quarterback and help our running game. The Saints were 28th in the NFL in rush offense a year ago. So you've drafted your bookend tackles. Eric McCoy at center coming back off of injury. You have a veteran now with Cesar Ruiz at right guard who's, again, he is not a good starting player. He's a bottom of the NFL starter, but still a starter nonetheless. And now you've added an elite level starter at left guard in David Edwards. So I love what they did. Saints also added a punter. They re-signed John Ridgway, their defensive lineman. So the Saints are very active, as promised they would be. They are finally free from quote-unquote cap hell with Carr's retirement, a lot of the dead money rotating off the books. The Saints came into this free agent period knowing they were going to have money to spend and identified where they wanted to spend it. They got a running back who was a 1,100-yard rusher a season ago, still very much in his prime, from Jennings, Louisiana, coming home, putting on for his home state. Love that. They added an interior offensive line to help protect Tyler Shuck and pace the running game. Love that. You let 2 defenders walk instead of overpaying for them. Now the onus is going to be on the Saints to go in the draft and maybe the second wave of free agency to see who they might be able to add to address the defensive side of the ball to get younger and talented there as well to replace Demario Davis and Alontae Taylor. Things are just cranking up so far. Aside from letting Demario Davis walk, I love everything the Saints did here in this first day of the legal tampering period. All right, as we get more reaction to it, more news, we'll certainly talk about it here on AFR. We are brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Thinking of buying a new vehicle, new or pre-owned? Make sure you check out South Point Volkswagen. They are Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. So, thinking of buying a new Volkswagen? Great. Nobody's got more inventory than South Point Volkswagen, which means they can get what you want. If they don't have it, they'll find it, and they give you the best deal. southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Or if you're looking to buy a pre-owned vehicle, go to the website, hit the used tab. Remember, because they sell more new Volkswagens than anyone, They have more trade-ins, all different makes and models. Hit the used tab. You'll see all the inventory right there. Work out your financing. Super easy right there at the website at southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, let's after further review. We are glad to have you hanging out with us here. I've known Coach Sid Edwards for a really long time. Of course, he is now President Sid Edwards, and he's going to jump in studio with us here in the next segment because he's here to talk about something that's near and dear to him and a lot of us, and it's going to be a really cool way that we at Guarantee have been getting involved to help someone in need, and you might just win sweet tickets to a baseball game as well. Hang out with me and Terrio and some other folks. So if that's enticing to you. But anyway, looking forward to having Mayor Sid Edwards in studio with us when we come back from the break. We'll do around the SEC a bit later. Got to talk about Matt McMahon. Kind of lobbying for year 5. Is that going to happen? We'll head to Houston next hour to talk to our buddy Chandler Rome, who's covering the World Baseball Classic, where Paul Skeens is on the bump. David DeLucci in hour 3. Yo, we're a lot loaded, ton to do. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
After further review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. You can always go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Listen, we always talk about the many different ways that Gordon gives back to the community, right? He's so philanthropic. I mean, they have the charitable arm of the law firm, which is Gordon Gives. So I always encourage you to go to gordongives.com, gordongives.com if you want to learn more, like the bicycle giveaway at Christmas, the laptop giveaway at graduation, the G team, how Gordon provides opportunities to both young men and women playing collegiate sports, not just at LSU, but at lots of different universities around the state of Louisiana. So many ways that Gordon gives back. The garage, his studio that he's open, he lets anybody use it. Just reserve time, and they'll produce your podcast for you. Go to gordongives.com if you want to learn more about the give back. gordongives.com.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
We were joking before the break. If I made him wait any longer, it might have me run some big 4s. I mean, field over at Catholic's just down the road. I mean, we're a hop, skip, and a jump from it right now. Coach Mayor Sid Edwards in studio with us. How are you, sir? Good to see you.
Doing great. Thank you for having me, my friend.
Well, it's our pleasure. And we're here for an important cause to have you. But I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. How are you, man? How's being mayor?
Man, it's great. And I'm not even faking it. I'm telling the truth. It's certainly different than coaching young men. So my players are just older adults now. The kids are easy. Yeah. They're easy. This stuff here, a whole different game. But I'm enjoying it.
I remember whenever you made the decision to run, you told the story often about when you were coaching at Struma and tragically lost one of your players, and that was your impetus to say, I'm going to do this. I want to affect change at a greater level. Do you feel like you've been able to do what you set out to do, at least start that path toward doing that?
I really do. On my initiatives, I really do. But the heaviest one that I carry with me every night is the violent crime, the murder rate in East Baton Rouge Parish. And, for example, we had a hectic weekend. Mm-hmm. Another child lost their life. And that's the tough part. I track numbers. Former police chief Jeff LaDuff works with me, and I work with, the sheriff and our chief, TJ Morse, here. But to me, that's the hardest part. We're making huge gains in the homelessness, huge gains in blight. But murder rate, we didn't celebrate, but it was the lowest murder rate in a decade, except for 2019 last year. But is 100 and something murders good? So that's been the hardest thing on me, especially when it deals with a young person.
Sure. Well, you're a good man, and your vision is right and good. And I know there's a lot of people that support. Everyone should support that initiative, obviously. But you have so many things that are on your mind, and so many people that have helped you over the years, and that you love to help and give back. And I know Coach Clay is one person that's really near and dear to you. Would you? And that's why you're here today. And we here at Guarantee are happy to reach out and help with this effort. Why don't you maybe start, Coach, if you would, just by telling people who Coach Clay Polk is?
Man, he's a one of a kind. I met Coach Clay at Redemptorist High School many years ago. He was a manager of the football team back then. But going into his senior year, he wanted to play football. And Clay finished up his career, on the team and playing. And he is very special to me. I can tell you, I have a lot of friends in the world. I consider Coach Clay my best friend. And the beauty of Coach Clay is there's no judgment. There's no angles. Just as pure as life can be. It's I've got 2 sons with autism. They have a lot of those traits too, no angles. But Clay stood on my side on that sideline for many, many years, together at Redemptorist and then, of course, at Central High School for many years. You often would see him out on the field. Coach Clay would often dress as Darth Vader, and the Force was usually with us.
Love it.
Unless the lightsaber, maybe the battery ran out every now and then. But he's just a tremendous soul, a tremendous human being, and I love him dearly.
Yeah. We're here, though, because Coach Clay's going through a fight of his own right now. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on there?
Yeah, Coach Clay wasn't feeling well some months ago, and a long story short, was diagnosed with cancer, and he is currently in treatment, hoping that this treatment could lead to, surgery. Don't know yet. But he turned 39 years old yesterday.
Awesome.
And so absolutely in the fight for his life right now. And all of us, he's touched so many people. I mean, every high school football coach in Baton Rouge knows Coach Clay.
Yeah.
And so many players and lives he touched.
So obviously when he's going through this cancer fight right now, needs help, and there's a GoFundMe that's been started. And I don't know how much, Coach, that you know or can share, but what does he need help with right now?
Well, he certainly has dreams. So, okay, on the funny side, he sent me a list. I said, Clay, if you could do anything you wanted to do, whatever. I just don't have $3.8 billion,
right.
For his dreams and all that. Right. But, the help with the medical bills,
sure.
That's the big deal. His mom and dad are both retired. Dad retired with the fire department, was with them many, many years. And, I would say they're not loaded with money, right? And so stuff like that, the treatment and the medical bills, the medicine, all those things would be a big help. And not to mention, I hope that on his wish list that there's a thing or two that maybe he might be able to do. I know one thing is he, I'm not sure why, but he wanted to hang out with Gordy Rush, at a baseball game. And Gordy's so good to grant that, for him. But here again, the way it works, simple requests, simple things. Like he wanted a badge, a official mayor's badge. But then he started thinking he wants a badge for every public office, in East Baton Rouge Parish. And we've covered it, most of it.
Yeah, I love it. Aim big, man. That boy Clay, aim big, man. Well, you mentioned that he wanted to be at a baseball game with Gordy Rush, and one of the things that at Guarantee we've done is Gordy and our team here has generously donated a pair of suite tickets for an LSU baseball game. I'll get you the date, but for anyone who will go and make a donation on Coach Clay's GoFundMe, you're automatically entered into that drawing for the pair of suite tickets. And Gordy asked if Terrio and I would be willing to go, and of course he will. So if they get bored with Gordy in the suite, maybe they can just talk some baseball with Ryan Terrio or some radio with me. I know you've known Ryan probably his whole life too. I would think, sure. Man, it does speak to how many people throughout your life as a coach and now obviously as a public servant that you've touched. But the GoFundMe, if you can pull it up, there it is on the screen. It's Support Coach Clay's Cancer Fight is where you can find it on GoFundMe. Maybe we can take this and share it on all of our socials as well. Support Coach Clay's Cancer Fight. It's organized by Cody Edwards. So you can find the GoFundMe, make any donation. If you do, you're automatically entered in that drawing, and we'll announce the winner, and you'll win a pair of sweet tickets to an LSU baseball game. I have the date. Forgive me. It's on my phone. I don't want to scroll through my phone while Mayor Edwards is here, but I'll find the exact date, and we'll share it with you in the next segment. But is there anything else that we need to make sure that our audience knows?
There are many young people like Clay in our community. We're living in a world right now. It's easy to fuss and cuss and look down at stuff. Clay Polk is everything that's right about the human spirit. Okay, he's one of God's children like you and I, but he got blessed with this sense where there's no fussing. The only way he fusses is if the pizza runs out, or we don't hit Cane's, Raising Cane's in time, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm asking our public. There's lots of Clays out there. So if you can't help Clay right now, look out there and see who you can help. Okay, do that, Baton Rouge. And I can tell you, the beautiful thing about our city, one of the beautiful things is we always rise to the occasion when the chips are down, and chips are down for my boy Clay right now. I want to thank my son Cody's the one who put the fundraiser together, came up with it, and with lots of help from a lot of people. So if you're able and you could help old Clay out, old Coach Clay, we'd appreciate it.
Be sure you do. We'll make sure we get it shared on all of our social media at 1045 ESPN on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and X and all the platforms there. Or you can find it straight from, if you go search GoFundMe, support Coach Clay's cancer fight. Again, any donation you can make, you'll be entered to win those the pair of tickets to sit in the guarantee suite for an LSU baseball game at a later date this season. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you before we get out of here. Marshall Faulk, Lane Kiffin, got two new coaches. I'm assuming you've been able to meet them both since they've taken their job. Thoughts on the two new coaches in town?
Well, the saying is 3 new coaches. Now, I'm a year in. I beat them here.
Okay.
Right? Hey, same goals, same everything. But we're lucky in Baton Rouge to have those 2 guys for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing them perform. And if I had to give them any advice, because I know they're listening, is
hey man, you better believe Lane's out. He'll know. You say something, he'll find it. He may not be listening right. He gonna find out.
Hey, this ain't Ole Miss of Colorado, guys. Let me tell you something. The honeymoon period, when I became mayor, they said, Sid, you're gonna have about 6 months of a honeymoon period. Try 6 hours.
Sounds like 6 hours.
So come get you some, coaches. I'm with you. I got you back.
Mayor Sid Edwards, it's a pleasure. It's always good to see you. Thank you for taking a few minutes to pop in here, and we're thrilled to be able to help support Coach Clay in this fight right now. Hopefully we'll reach a lot of people and do a lot of good.
Matt, thank you. You're a jewel for our city. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, sir. It is After Further Review, Mayor Sid Edwards. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll wrap up hour number 1 next.
After further review.
Got to take 60 seconds to remind you about the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark Baton Rouge, Renaissance Baton Rouge. 2 of Baton Rouge's premier hotel properties, Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown, as they say right there on Bluebonnet, near I-10. It's an awesome spot. If you've never been to Renaissance Baton Rouge, it's worth going in. Maybe have dinner at Tallulah. Probably for some reason or another, you've had an event there, a fundraiser, a wedding reception, an awards banquet. I know we had the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters Awards banquet there a few years ago. I was at a fundraiser just this past fall at Renaissance Baton Rouge. That grand ballroom can host up to 500 people. So for whatever reason, you may need an event from a boardroom for a dozen people to the ballroom for 500 people or anything in between. Renaissance Baton Rouge, right there on Bluebonnet, near I-10, centrally located, easy to get from anywhere in Baton Rouge. And Allison Crump and her team, the events coordinator, will do an awesome job taking care of you. So call over to Renaissance Baton Rouge, ask for Allison. Remember, it's Watermark or Renaissance Baton Rouge.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too. Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the day.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1. Glad you're aboard with us here. Remember, you can always email, tweet, text. Text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. Thanks again to Mayor Sid Edwards for joining us here in the studio. A great man. I mean, if you don't know Coach Sid, you will be hard-pressed to find anybody who says a negative word about him, because he's, throughout his life, touched so many people in so many different communities, and a true a true public servant. A lot of you go into coaching. You're not going into coaching as in high school to get rich. It's you do it because you love it and you love serving and helping young people. And he's always been that, and he's doing that now for our city. So, a great man. We're happy to help with this initiative as they're trying to raise money here for Coach Clay, as he's known. And you know what? I was supposed to do that in the break, and I was talking to the mayor before he walked out, so my apologies. But I was supposed to look at what game it was. I believe this is it. It's March 17th is the game. So March 17th is that Texas A&M? March 17th. Can you
March 17th is a Tuesday.
Look up the schedule. Yeah, March 17th is the
St. Patrick's Day.
Would you look up the?
Yeah, okay. I'm doing that right now.
March 17th is the game. So that's next. So that's next week. That's next week in the midweek. So,
that is Grambling.
So next
Tuesday
week,
night against Grambling.
I'm almost positive that's it. I didn't think that was it, but maybe that is it. But anyway, I'll get the exact date. My apologies. Either way, we're going to have those tickets to raffle off to anyone who could contribute to Coach Clay's fundraiser. So we appreciate it. All right, it's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. LSU basketball lost on Saturday. Triple overtime heartbreaker. 3-15 in the league, dead last. They'll go into the SEC tournament as the 16 seed. They'll play Kentucky, lose. The season will be over. They'll have a decision to make about Matt McMahon's future. Coming up after the top of the hour, about a dozen minutes from right now, Matt McMahon, after the game, was asked about his future. We'll let you hear what he said. I'll give you some thoughts. We'll do all that coming up in just a smidge. Right now, though, let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Texas Longhorns.
Defensive lineman Justice Terry and linebacker Ty Anthony Smith are not expected to participate in spring practice. They had off-season surgery. Smith had surgery for his shoulder, and Terry had also arm/shoulder surgery in the offseason. So neither were there at the first spring practice on Monday as they opened up, but both are expected to be a full go for fall.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Sooners land 2027 in-state athlete Graydon Howell. He's out of Broken Bow, Oklahoma. He's the 19th member of Oklahoma's 2027 commitment class. 19 already for the class of 2027. The 9th offensive player, 3rd wide receiver. Chose OU over Oklahoma State, Purdue, Stanford, Baylor, and Tulsa. He's a 3-star, top 25 athlete national.
The Missouri Tigers.
Interior offensive lineman Lu'al Aleu has committed to Missouri after his junior day visit. He's a 2027 prospect. 3-star, 6'4", 300 pounds, the number 47 interior offensive lineman in the country, the number 26 player in the state of Ohio.
The Florida Gators.
And after leading the Florida Gators to their first regular season conference championship in more than a decade, Todd Golden named SEC Coach of the Year as the SEC unveiled its conference awards as selected by the SEC's head coaches. First Florida coach to win the award since 2017, 4th in program history. After a 5-4 start for the Gators to start this season, the defending champs have the 2nd most SEC wins in school history with 16, the 4th most regular season wins by any Florida team with 25. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. We are brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing. ParishBuilt.com. ParishBuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction and Roofing. Appreciate y'all so much for all the support over at Parish Construction and Roofing. I want to remind you, though, this weekend we had awful weather. When it rains, typically people realize they got a roof leak or an issue with their roof. If you did, we'd love to give you that free, no-obligation roofing inspection. Go to ParishBuilt.com. ParishBuilt.com. Just fill out the form on the homepage. You know, by the way, if you go to ParishBuilt.com and you fill out the form and you sign up for a free, no-obligation roofing inspection, you are automatically entered to win $25,000 cash. You can learn more at the website at ParishBuilt.com, ParishBuilt.com. Right when you go to the website, you'll see the big splash screen that comes up right on the homepage at ParishBuilt.com. Just hit Enter Now, and all you got to do, fill out the form, sign up for a free, no-obligation roofing inspection, just like that. You're entered to win $25,000 cash. For all the rules and details, you can get it right there at the website, ParishBuilt.com, ParishBuilt.com, ParishBuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction and Roofing, ParishBuilt.com. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for listening and for texting. It is the Texas A&M game. It's April 17th. is the game. So it's the Friday of the Texas A&M game. So April 17th at the box. If you that's the pair of tickets that you'll win. So I think what I misunderstood is next Tuesday. I had a different date in my calendar for the suite. But anyway, April 17th against Texas A&M. That's a Friday. That's the date that you'll be in the suite for the pair of tickets if you win, if you support Coach Clay's cancer fight. All right, it's after further review. Monday shows brought to you by Relief Windows. We'll knock out a quick break. Sports Center will get you caught up on national headlines. A lot to get to. We do have an update just very quickly here. The compensatory picks for the draft have been announced, and the Saints did gain a fourth-round compensatory pick from last year's free. So the Saints will add a fourth-round pick in this upcoming NFL draft as a result of free agency a year ago. We'll get into all the particulars and details about that coming up in just a smidge, but Saints get another asset there for the draft coming up next month. Okay, it is after further review. Sports Center, get you caught up on national headlines. When we come back, we'll talk a little LSU basketball, not necessarily the team because we know they are what they are, but the future of the program. You'll hear from Matt McMahon on his future next.
AFR.
If you're thinking of buying land, your first call needs to be to First South Farm Credit. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Because since 1916, 110 years, First South Farm Credit has been first in agriculture, and they've only expanded. Maybe you need that 1,000 acres for agriculture. First South Farm Credit. Or maybe you want that recreational property. First South Farm Credit should be your first call. Tired of hunting on somebody else's property? Get your own. Maybe through tax season, you're thinking, could really use a great investment property. Talk to your CPA. Maybe owning recreational timber property could be a great investment. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Or maybe you want to build your family's dream home. You need that 30 acres in St. Francisville, 50 acres in Covington, whatever it may be. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com.